if y'all saw the announcement for the reminder for this session, we are going to be going over an advanced form is what I keep referring to it as, but basically we are taking our inspiration from Jan Dye from the Orange Coast League here in California, where she has created this dynamic form using conditionals and tokens, and we'll go over those, but based on the person's choice of what their membership type is with the combination of their method of payment, she has set up her form to have, I believe there's definitely one specific confirmation page for just mail-in payments. And then for the online payments, she set it up so that every single membership type also has its own confirmation page. So it is definitely a lot of groundwork to set up on your form to begin with. But once you have all the pieces in place, as far as all these different confirmation pages, as far as making updates, let's say you had to update a payment button, it's the same steps you would take if you set up your form the traditional way that we instruct in MyLO. But taking this advanced route is definitely doable, and we're just going to go through the steps today. Any questions before we dive right in? Okay. So
just a question. It's been a while since this topic. Thank you.
For sure.
So is the advantage then it's personalized?
It is a bit more personalized. Yeah. So the person, I guess not the opposite, but the traditional way that I guess I was referring to would be that the confirmation page would be for everybody. So regardless of your membership type or your method of payment, you would see maybe
generic. Okay.
Exactly. And usually it's going to have all the different payment methods all in one. And this just reduces confusion for the end user, really.
Excellent. Okay. It might make them give even more the year after because they have a confirmation of what they gave too. So
exactly. Yeah. Making it clearer and easier for your users sometimes. Yeah, exactly. It can inspire them to do a little bit more. Okay, so I am going to work off of if you guys were part of the session, I think it was a couple of sessions ago, so a month ago, we did talk a bit about web forms, and we just focused on some of the conditionals. I'm going to refresh my page here. We had set up this form so that by default, all of these fields here are required. But then when you select that you're a renewing member, we have two different things happen. These three are no longer required, they're optional now. And then this note pops up. So the conditionals came into play there. We're going to not only add more conditionals, but we're going to add in, like I said, some tokens. Tokens, if you haven't heard or seen them before, are variables. They are placeholders that can be used, especially in our forms, but we see them across our entire site. And it would be like something like if you wanted to personalize a message that was saying hello to the current logged in user. We have a token for that would pull up based on the context of who is logged in. The system can say, well, this token says to pull the current user's first name, and it knows exactly where to look and pull it every time for that logged in user. I wanted to also drop a documentation about tokens. There we go. Put that in the chat. And then I'll show it as well. It just shows a little bit deeper the example that I just mentioned. but we're also going to see tokens for ourselves, like our full list of them. So let's go ahead and see what I need to add to my current join form, because right now I have something, but it's definitely not what we're looking to create to recreate Jan's form here. So at minimum, because right now on my form, I'm going to close that there. My form right now only, and I'm focusing just right now on the questions, the select options questions. Those are going to help us build up our conditionals right now. Right now, I only ask if they are a new or renewing member, and that's similar to Jan's question of membership status. So I can leave that one alone. I need to focus on adding the membership type, because that's going to help me determine which confirmation page they need, along with the method that tells me how they're going to pay. There's one last form component that I can't see myself, because this being Jan's form, I'm logged in as a demo user. I don't have access to see one particular form component that she's made private. Let's see if I can pull up. Oh, I do have it open. So I recreated her form so that we could see it completely. So this was the form component I wasn't able to see because I wasn't an administrator of, I'm not an administrator of Orange Coast, but I am an administrator of the demo site that I've cloned this to. So the last form component that I have to add here is the node. A node is like a URL. It is a page. It is an event. It is an article. It is anything, any item that has been created by a webmaster or by MyLO admin. So not files, but any other page that has a URL. You'll notice that when you edit most pages, like when you click new draft, what pops up in the address bar changes from the pretty URL that we see to the node and its node ID. So every content item has a node tied to it, a node ID tied to it. So those are the three I need to add: membership type, method, and node. And depending on your membership types, if you are following this same pattern, then we have one online payment page each per membership type. So the more membership types you have, you're probably going to have additional confirmation pages. Okay, so let's start off with the membership type. And it doesn't matter the order that you have the questions in. You'll probably figure out what's best for you. So I am just gonna copy the wording as well. Being that they have to choose an option here, it has to be select options. And we do want to make them required since we're going to base our conditionals off of these specific questions. All right, and then the options, as usual, being that each option has two parts, I start with the second part, the last end of it, being that the last end of it is what's visible, what's going to be visible to the public. So I'm going to do our usual here, individual, if I can spell it, household. And why don't we keep that going with just the supporting? I want to be able to recreate. Jan was able to add, I just want to show that, the supporting membership level, because it has not only the membership, but a donation attached to it as well. She made it so that this recognition question pops up if you choose supporting level. So I know that we talked about that when we were in the last month's session, talking about the join form. We were talking about how can we make it available to them to add a donation on top. this might be a way for that. Okay, so back to the options. This is what they're going to see. And now I'm building backwards. So now I'm going to build the first half of it, the left end. And this is going to be what the system, what MyLO is going to recognize as equivalent to this option. We could use the same wording. We could use a 1, 2, 3 pattern, whatever you want to do. You could abbreviate, but as long as you have something, and sorry, I forgot to mention, what separates those two parts is the vertical bar, the straight up and down bar. So you do need to have both parts. The left end of it, the first half, is what comes in handy when you are working with tokens. While we're here, I'll go ahead and pull the tokens up. I'm not going to use them just yet, but you'll notice that there's several places across your site that you'll see this link, browse available tokens. And that just means that wherever it appears under, you're able to enter a token in there. And like I said, tokens are placeholders. They are just waiting to be told what the value should be. And usually being told what the value should be is either like a form being submitted, it's a user being logged in. Sometimes it's just no context needed. You'll see that in the documentation, what are tokens. There's global and contextual tokens. The global ones are like where it pulls up the site name, and that would equal MyLO. Sometimes we see a token on our meta tags. If you ever browse down like at the bottom while you're editing a page, you'll see tokens there as well. When you do click on this link, do know that it's going to take a while to load. There's a lot of information within the tokens, and it, regardless of which tokens you can use where, it does pull up the entire list. So don't worry if it does take some time. Sometimes I think my browser has like frozen and it'll tell me, wait or kill it. And I'll sometimes click wait and that'll do the trick. But you might try different browsers if you really are trying to make it work and it's for some reason not loading up. So there we go. It took probably a good 30 seconds or so. Once it loads up, you can move it around. You probably do want to move it about as high up as you can, because once you expand any of these, the list grows pretty long. So I'm just expanding one of them so we can see what it looks like. I will definitely get into more detail once we're going to drop one in, but I just wanted to show off that there are several different places you can pull these up from, and there's a lot of different information that you can or fill in with these tokens. Okay, so with the membership type here, I'm just gonna go ahead and save that. I've put in my options, I've made it required. And now we need the method. This is the payment method. And again, we want to make that required since we do need to know. And then we're doing the same thing. I'm going to build up on the right side first. And then this time I'm just going to do a 1, 2 and separate it by the vertical bar. All right, and we can go ahead and save that as well. And I'm not making it as beautiful as Jan has and adding nice descriptions and things. You can definitely do that. I'm just trying to run through these. So before we jump over to the conditionals, just want to show off what we have so far. So we still have that question up top, and I just left them at the bottom here. So far, these don't make any changes. We haven't set any conditionals. Oh, and one last item was the node, right? That one, I want to double check the type there. I think it's a text field. Yes. So she just named that node, and it is a text field. So that's really easy. Let's go on back. And then the one other thing was that she made it private. So it's not the end of the world if we don't make it private. It's just we want to make sure that folks do not have a way to edit it or, you know, make a change to it. Okay.
And Amarise,
Yes.
what was the purpose of having the node? I mean, the node is the address, but if you're on the page, you've already got the address. So I didn't.
The node is going to come in handy once we start building the conditionals. We're going to say if someone chooses to pay online and they choose an individual membership type, then the node shall be, and then we're going to fill in that node. So that's what this form component is serving as. It is that node after the word then.
Okay.
It'll hopefully make more sense once we start putting those conditionals in. But this for right now is just kind of, it's a shell to then be used for the confirmation page. So all we need to do is give it the name, and we are going to down here set it to private. This allows only users with results access to be able to see it. So it would have to be someone who is either MyLO admin or is a webmaster of your league. So if they're just logged in, they're not able to see that. And even if it does show up for some users of your league, possibly as members, it is not editable. I don't know if I'm able to show that off. I don't think I'm able to show that off on this one. No, but earlier I can't remember exactly which account I was using and where I was, but I know that it was grayed out based on me not having the proper rights to that group. But back to the node, we're going to make that private and save it. So now that we have that, I just want to show how to build it. We need to first have all the building blocks. So meaning the building blocks being all these form components that we just added, node, payment method, and membership type. And then the other building blocks are the confirmation pages themselves. So these new pages that are going to serve as a confirmation page for paying by mail, one for paying online as an individual, paying online as household, and paying online as supporting. So I need to make 4 new pages or work with existing pages, but they need to, once they're ready, then I can pull those nodes, the node ID. So just before we jump into creating those confirmation pages, here's an idea of what the conditional is going to end up being. Oh, these are our existing conditionals. I'm going to jump down here and add a new one. Okay. So we are going to need 2 parts within the if. So we need an and there. We can do that by using the plus sign with the parentheses. Whoops, I guess not. Okay, no, sorry. It is this set here, this plus sign second to last. Is it not going to add that for me? Let me try and refresh. Oops. Okay, add a new, and then let's try and add and. Maybe let me try changing the questions here. No. it should not be giving me any issue. I'm not entirely sure what the problem is. Let me try and set up the first part of it. So if membership type is individual, we're still missing the if your membership, or I mean, if your payment method, but we're just going to say then the node is set to, and this gives us a place to fill in a node. This is one that I was using before, but that's essentially what half of it's going to look like. Let's see if we can add the other half there. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Huh. Well, I was definitely trying to work with an existing form. Yeah, we don't want to add a new one. So I can work with my demo form. Definitely not the exact lesson that we could have had trying to build it live. But let me just go ahead and show you what it's actually supposed to look like. I don't know if building the confirmation pages and then coming back to that, I don't think that's going to make a difference. It's probably still possibly going to be giving me some issue. I will be checking in on that if it continues for sure. But let's check out the demo. So I have all of the form components in place on this one. Let me zoom in a bit. So I'm just skipping past all of these since this conditional here deals with renewing or household members. It makes it so that the additional fields for the second member are shown and required. And then this one was what we saw when I chose supporting member. The recognition question popped up. So down here, okay, so this is the first conditional that is set up for pay by mail. That one is simple because it doesn't matter what their membership type is, regardless of their membership type. If they're paying by mail, they all need to go to one particular page to pay. Then we get down here. And I don't know why the system was not liking what I was doing. We wanted to build up if method is pay dues online and membership type is individual membership, then the node is set to a different page. And then as we go down the list of conditionals, we're seeing almost the same thing, except for the membership type changes and then the actual node changes since it does have to be a different page. I'm going to see, I saw that Jan had joined us. Jan, we were just in the middle of trying to recreate the conditional. I'm thinking that it might be a system thing, but I was trying to create the conditional for, let's say, just an individual member paying online. And I just wanted to see which button are you using to add the and here, this one here. I don't know if you're already active there, Jan.
Sorry, I was struggling with my headphones.
Oh, no worries. I was just curious because right now we were trying to rebuild the conditionals that you have, and we were having trouble getting this and added, or technically that the second half of the if portion. Which button did you use? Which plus sign?
I did this so many years ago. I think it might be the, do you think it's the one in parentheses?
The one, that's what I thought as well. Let me see if, again, setting it up. It's individual maybe I need to save it in between. I just don't have a node yet. I think I can still save it blank. We'll set that for now. No, it didn't allow me. Let's just say is shown for now. I'm going to try and save that and see if coming back to it once saved, then maybe it allows me to add on top. Okay, there we go.
There it is, yeah. Okay, that looks right.
I think it added one too many. So I'm just gonna, lined up with one of these, I'm just gonna use one of the, there we go. One of the subtract minus signs to get rid of it. So now that looks better. The parentheses make it look a little bit different, but it is the same message, the same process. So if membership type is individual and payment method is online, then the node is set to, and I need to fill in that blank. I don't have the node or the confirmation page just yet for this particular member or member type and payment method. So for now, I'm gonna set it to shown just so that I can continue to save this conditional. Otherwise, we have to build it up from scratch again. So I'll save that for now, and I'm gonna pause on the form, go make my confirmation page for the individual. Any questions so far? And thank you so much, Jan, because that was super helpful. Okay, I'm gonna keep chugging along. Thank you guys for, yes.
I have a flow chart. I'll try and get that to you real close.
Yeah.
Because it tells you which nodes go where. So let me get that to you.
That'd be helpful. I think it probably would help too, especially for folks who might be thinking of building this, to be able to wrap your head around it. It's so much easier to see things on paper when we're working with digital stuff like this. Okay, so just one last look. Well, actually, we're not going to worry about looking at it for now. I'm going to go back to my homepage so I can get to the administrator menu. And we're just going to add a page. The good thing about this different way of having a confirmation page is that the new page that you're going to use, you only have to have, well, bare minimum. Let's say, well, we're going to have the title, which will have as that. And then the body. Those are the main things that you need. You don't need to worry about adding, you definitely don't want to add a web form to the confirmation page. You just want to have it all straight in the body so that it's right there immediately when they land on this page. I think I have, yeah, I have some wording from Jan's that I am just going to copy and paste because I love to copy and paste. And we'll just change that. We'll add a pay now button. And this is where you would add your link to your payment page. Let's say it could be a link to PayPal, or you could, if you wanted to embed the payment button, you could do it here in the body, or you could leave your page like that where, you know, whatever comes underneath the individual membership, which we would add here, you could add your payment button into the body with embed code section. It just depends on how your setup is. If you have a URL, then it's so much easier to just use just what's built into MyLO and use the linking tool. Or if you have a payment button, then go with what you have. And then this nice little reminder that Jan also has. Whoops, I hit the enter button. If that ever happens, just use the remove formatting key. Sometimes the cursor gets stuck up there, but it did enter that line. And I just want to add that little reminder. All right, so let's save that. I think that's on my demo site. We'll just go straight to published. And so it's not until I save my page do I now have a node ID attached to it. You can tell what the node ID is by either hovering over or, whatever way you want to copy this address, you can click on it and copy it from the address bar. You can right click it and copy link address, whatever it is that you want to do, but just get that address and then you can pull the node ID from it. You do want to use the node / as well. Awesome, thanks, Jen. So what we want to pull is not only the node ID, but then the word node / as well. So I just copied that. I don't need that. So now, so far, we've at least set up one confirmation page. Let's come on back and whoops, that's not the one. I think it was my join page. Yes, okay. So now we can go back and finish that conditional. Whoops, go to the conditionals tab. Okay, so now with that, the node is, instead of shown, is going to be set to, and we are plugging in what we just copied so that now individual online paying members will go directly here. But the last, so let me go ahead and save that. Let's pretend that right now I have all of my confirmation pages in there and all my conditionals. I'm going to go to the last step of making sure that your confirmation page aligns with these different conditionals. Because right now the confirmation page is still set to just the default. So just to show that off. If you don't know the trick already to get to your default confirmation page without having to submit the form, just go to view published or visit the page itself, tack onto the end of your URL /done, D-O-N-E. And that gets you to the default confirmation page. And oh, I do have something there. Okay, so that's where everybody's landing right now. But I want to avoid confusion so that folks aren't, if they are wanting to join as option 3 and they pay with option 1, we're going to prevent that or try to prevent it as much as possible. Okay, so let's go over to where the confirmation page settings are. And that's over on form settings. All right, so right now, the confirmation page is our redirection location. We can use a custom URL, and that is what Jan is using. Not only is it the custom URL, she's also using a token. So the token is the placeholder for the node. It is a token to represent the node. And I have to actually cheat to look at which node here it is, but I will pull up the node list there. And again, it does take a while to load up. It's not only it has all the tokens, it has all the descriptions, which are super helpful. Ah, okay, and now I'm realizing which one it is there. Okay, perfect. So once that loads, all right. So what she is using, since we added, and I'm going to keep jumping back and forth between the published version of this and the tokens here. So the submissions is what the token type that she had used. These are specific to web form submissions. So since we asked the question, we have the form component of node, we can build a token based off of what the value is provided on this. So as I choose individual online, this node is going to replace that token, that placeholder. And so not only did she use, let's see, does it show up here? There we go. So she used this kind of formula here. This is the token that she started building from. So submission values, when you see it this way, let's see, if we took out, the question mark and the colon there, that is going to represent the submission values for your entire web form. It's going to have the questions, the values, the answers, all of the above. When you replace that question mark with the form key, and coming back to this, the form key is what we see here. If we replace that question mark with the form key, then it gives us the value being what the submitted response was. So I'm gonna copy that. My computer will probably thank me for closing that up. Okay. So since this is going to, and like I said, we need to look at the form key, and luckily it's just node. We add that in. In real time, if we submit the form as an individual paying online, we saw that it would change to, I don't remember what the sequence of numbers was, but it would be something like that. That is half of the URL. We obviously are missing the first portion that would have the HTTPS. So we can type that in ourselves. So I'm going to go back and put the token. So at the beginning, what we're missing is the MyLO address. So once we have that, and make sure you do add the /, that is going to be the completion, because again, the token here specifically for the node is going to be changed based on what we have in our conditionals. So since we would submit the form, if I submit the form as an individual paying online, then the system is going to say that node needs to be filled in for this value for that specific submission. And then as I keep adding conditionals and have different nodes for different membership types, then still this is going to dynamically change based on the submission received. Any questions so far? Okay. And I definitely, Jan, is it okay that I share your flowchart in the Google group later today?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right. Whew, this is a hefty one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. I think we're good to go on that so far. All right, so now I am going to, just so that we can see a complete picture, I'm going to clone confirmation pages for those as well. So just to make my life easy, I'm going to copy that node. And we're going to get to 2 more confirmation pages. And if anybody has questions, feel free to ask while I'm cloning these up. And as far as cloning, we know that you do have to be the author, but you can make that change and manage content if you didn't originally create it. I guess we didn't recreate here. Where is it? We didn't recreate the question of recognition, but it is just like how we had built up the conditionals for the others, or like for renewing members, or like for the household members, how we saw in Jan's form here. If you are just going to set up a simple one for if somebody is joining as a household or as a supporting member, then recognition is shown. That's all you have to do to set it up. And again, you just have to start with the actual form components, the building blocks. So I'm just adding the last one. Okay. So we have all three now. I probably should have kept the other page open, but that's fine. I'm going to go look through it through my manage content because I do need to collect the nodes for each so we can create those conditionals. So I have my supporting member there. We need the household member. Let me show that off too. Not only can you get the node from the new draft button, you can also pick it up from the edit button. It is a longer string on the edit button, but the number is still there. On the edit button, you'll notice two different IDs, node IDs. The smaller number, so 27,000 is smaller than 49,000. The smaller number is going to be your home page, like that is your landing page's node ID. The other number is always going to be bigger because it was created after your home page was, or at the same time. Usually it's usually like a number off or beyond. So you can pull the node ID from here, or as we saw earlier, from the new draft button. Oops. Okay, sorry, I'm jumping around a bit. So I pulled this from my supporting, and I'm just cleaning off what I don't need because this is what I'm going to copy. And then for household, let's copy that link address again and paste that in. And there we have it. Whoops. All right. One thing too, if you leave a trailing // that's totally fine. It's the same. So let's go ahead and use these. Where is my form? There we go. All right, so I'm coming back over to the conditionals. And we are essentially recreating what we did here. We'll see if we have to take the same route as we did with that one. So the first part is, and it doesn't matter if you start with membership type or you start with payment method. It's still, as long as you have both, it's still going to create the same effect. So membership type, this time is household. Then let's see, let me try to add that. Okay, no, so we do need to save in between, and that's totally fine. Remember that you can leave it as shown. Well, shown is probably the best one to leave it as your folder, because once you save it, then you're able to build onto that conditional. Let's see, did that save? There we go. Yes, it did. Okay. So if it gives you this warning up top, yeah, I'm going to take a note on that. It is, you're able to continue. So don't be alarmed if you see that you might try again or continue with the work that you were doing. Okay. So now we have a second part, and it looks like it's added to here, I'm gonna get rid of the top part. Oh, whoops, one more time there. Okay. Oh, it looks like I got rid of the top part. That's totally fine. So we'll rebuild that again. If membership type is household and payment method is online, then node is set to, it's going to be this one. Okay, and let's save that. Let's
I'm all
try, yes.
Can you go up and see, so are all these conditions on one page? All your choices are on this one page?
Correct.
The renewing member filter, and then you go
Mhm.
down into membership type individual
Mhm.
filter.
And then the next one.
Okay, okay.
You're able to move them around. I think in the way that we're using the conditionals, it may not affect it. You can, if I slid this conditional up, it's not really making a difference in the way that our form functions. But if you make such an advanced form that, maybe you have multiple pages and you say, if someone answers yes to this question, they should not see page 2 or something like that.
Oh,
You could get really advanced and, then the order of conditions might matter.
Okay.
But yeah, they are all on one page. Let's see if we can add.
It has the ability to stack up these multiple answers, like, yes, I'm renewing, yes, I'm going to pay by check, yes, I'm doing a household, and then it compiles those 3 choices into the specific form.
Yeah, you can get that deep. You can get as simple as just if they have answered one of those, then something should happen. Or you can get that deep as they answer this particular way to these 5 questions, they need to see this, or they need to go to this confirmation page, whatever it is. Yeah, there's usually a token for it or a conditional for it that's gonna help you get the result that you're looking for that person.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if we can add the supporting one without much confusion. Let's try one more time to see if I can add no. Okay, so I know that is for up there. Let's try this plus sign. Nope, that's for the then. Okay, so it has to be this plus sign. There we go. Okay, I don't know what the issue was before. If you are working on this, please do let me know if you get that issue, because it might be something that we might just troubleshoot together live if it's just being a bug. But if you didn't see that, let me do it one more time. Let's just get rid of it all. Okay, so I add the new condition with the button plus sign that's laying on top. So at the very bottom, technically. And then to get the and after the if here, it's the second plus sign because the top row here is for the then section of the conditional above us. So the one in the middle between the parenthesized one gives you the and. Okay, so last one here, if membership type is supporting and payment method is online, then node is set to, I'm going to copy this in its entirety. There we go. And if we did have that question of recognition, I could very well add it to the bottom. Since I don't, I'll just leave it alone. But, I guess any supporting member, regardless of their payment method, should be shown the recognition. So this might not be the best method there. I'll leave that alone and leave it how we were originally setting out to make it. So now we have 3 almost similar, or 4, I guess, 4 almost similar conditionals set up. Oh, I had moved it up. Let me just move that where that was. I think the only one that I don't have is the pay by mail. And so since we are using this node method, you know, rather than using the default confirmation page, we are using this node method. I do need to have a node for every single payment type or every single confirmation page that there should be, every single outcome, I guess. So I'm going to leave it like that for now, just for time's sake. We went through the steps and it would be the exact same. Let's just pretend that my donate page is my, it's going to serve as our confirmation page for the pay by mail folks, just so we can go through the steps to create the conditional. So I open up my page that's going to serve as my confirmation. I need to copy the link from new draft so I can get that node. Let's just copy that now. All right, so I have that on my clipboard. Coming back over to my form. This was the one I was working on, yes. And here in the conditionals, it's going to be very similar to the ones we just set up, but it's just, it doesn't matter the membership type. So it's going to be just simple like this. So if they are paying by mail, we don't, regardless of their membership type, we are sending them, their node is going to be set to there. And so I guess, yeah, another way of saying then the node is set to, you could, it also means that you're sending them to this node based on how we have the confirmation settings set up. So let's go ahead and save that. Let me double check the email settings. I have them set up. I'm just going to turn them off just so that you guys can test it for yourselves too. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Where is it? Thanks, Jen. I just saw your note. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it out as well. So I'm just going to at first try as an individual member. Oh, one other thing that we didn't go over. There were additional tokens that Jan had used that are pretty helpful when you have users that are logged in. Let's go over a couple of those. Is it not loading for me? There we go. Okay, so the first and most easiest is email address, being that it is the type, the form component type is email address. It's not a text field. It is specifically for collecting email. It's shifted over, I don't know why, but the type is the email. So that helps the system already know that it should be an email related token. So we don't even have to browse the available tokens. We can just click this box and it fills in the token automatically. So this is a current user token type, or that is the token it is. And the type of token is the second half. So it tells you it's looking for mail, which that's how MyLO identifies email. It calls it mail. So that makes it easier for a logged in user. Pretty much half their job is done. Let me actually show you, going back to Jan's form. I'm logged in as the demo user. So this is what I have my first and last name set to in my profile. And here we see my email address. Then the only thing as my user, I don't have a street address or city and zip, but Jan had also used tokens to fill those in as well. So you can use tokens for just about anything. I'm going to go ahead and save that email one for now. Now well, we saw what it looks like already on the live side. Let's see about filling in the name. And I probably should have separated this as first name and last name, but that's fine. So under default value, that's where we want to click browse available tokens. When we click the link under the field that it's under, it just automatically puts the token there. So we don't have to like copy and paste. And so since we are just worried about the current user, the person who is logged in, we are just looking at these types, these tokens. And I do think every time you click to expand or to close a section in the list here, it takes some time to load again. Oh, I guess not. It is gonna just be this large. Well, as long as it is allowing me to scroll. Okay, so we can tell that we have quite a few tokens for current user. You might recognize some as being, ones that you might want to use, like for the number. This is the one that we just saw for the email. Here we have the first name. And then we have last name. So, oh yeah, it is still slowly loading. I think since I'm on Zoom, on the Zoom call with you guys, it's probably making it harder for it to load completely, but that's fine. We are just going to insert these. I don't know if it's going to close the list for me. So I want to copy this one to my clipboard and drop in first name since I want to have, okay, it dropped in the first name without closing the list. So that's awesome. And then one more. There we go. So I'm not technically able to see it because I have this on top of it, but there we go. Close that up. And now I have first name and last name. I just want to add a space since that's not going to be probably not included in someone's first or last name in their user profile. So just add that space. Let's go ahead and see what that gives us. All right, so let's go back to view that published version. So there we go. We have my full name there. And if I visit this while logged out, I think I'm logged out on Microsoft Edge. Oh, is it private? I didn't think so. Were y'all able to reach the link? Did I drop that in the chat already? Oh, it is private. Okay, sorry about that. That makes a difference. Okay, let's try that again. So we saw what it looked like for me visiting this logged in. I see some information already built in. Oops. But then logged out, I see nothing. So that's the good thing. If there's nothing for the system to pull up for you, then you just see nothing, a blank form for you. Otherwise, if it is able to fill in that token, then it will. One other thing too about default values, not only can you use tokens, you can also, like for select options, any of them that are select options, you can just type in the form key for that option, and that would be the default value. So I'm going to save that. Let me check that out. So that we didn't even have to use a token. We're just using what we've added based on our own options. One other default value too is if you're adding the specific form component for date, the default value could be today, and it's always going to show the current date. So let's just save that. Any questions? Yes, Lynette.
If you have a member who's renewing and say they've got, and it pulls up their first name, last name, email address, and address, but they've changed, they've moved, so they have a new address. If they can, they just type over it and it will save and update the MyLO system.
It will not update their profile. It is only about pulling that information for the user, not taking it in and updating. So that might be some, like maybe considering an additional option for renewing members if they, I guess similar to this, as if they choose a renewing member, you might have a note that comes up, something like, if you do make changes, you know, mark this box here to notify us, or something, you know, something that would work for your team.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. Any other questions?
Well, my question would be, first of all, did anybody really understand this? And then secondly, is anybody actually going to try it? I'm teasing. It's Friday.
I think
let's
Jan is happy to have had this done years ago.
Yes, yes.
This is, yeah, this was, I mean, I always pick something up, but I'm still 101, so.
It definitely, yeah. it
When I
definitely
saw
is a
your
lot.
screen go dark, Mary Jo, I thought you were multitasking.
Well, I had other things I could do. Yeah.
Okay. No,
You know, yeah, if that's all it is,
But
I'm
the
still
flow
happy
chart-
if you can pick stuff up.
yeah.
You
it
never
just,
know.
you know, tokens and node and the flow chart. That's kind of the way I think, the way Lynette summarized it, like if the,
Having it
But,
laid out.
so.
Yeah, I will get that into the Google group right after our session.
Yeah,
Um,
and I have to say, I mean, this is incredibly helpful. I am going to try it. I will probably mess it up and have to watch this video and the one from last month a million times before I get it right. But it's very slick the way that Jan set it up.
yeah,
So
Well,
Yeah,
at
it's
least
really
now we have some familiarity about what's offered.
yeah,
which is
Right.
great.
What can be done?
What can be done. We have aspirations now.
Yeah.
we do.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah, it definitely isn't for everybody because it's definitely, like we said, a lot more groundwork to be done, a heavier lift to start off with. But especially when we can lower the confusion or, you know, make it more certain that folks are going to pay what they should be, then I think it can be worth it, for sure. Did anybody have any questions? Because we didn't really have time for any individual questions. We could take some time here now.
Well, I have one sort of technical and one short one. But my first one is, and Jennifer, don't roll your eyes. So apparently our domain subscription is ending because we got a couple ones from other companies saying, hey, you know, join us.
Mhm.
And so has anything happened with MyLO or anything that would change us continuing our, you know, subscription? I'm assuming not, but
No,
go with Ionis.
yeah, your MyLO URL is staying the same as far as domain services. We're not planning to provide them. So whatever company you decide to go with will be good.
Yeah, it'll just be in it. Okay. And then, so I don't know if you want to go to my page, but or our page, I have a section called advocacy.
Mhm.
And then I list the, you know, some local and state advocacy groups.
Mhm.
And on one of them, so you'll see it on the left. Yeah,
This one
so
here?
advocacy groups, yeah.
Oh, advocacy group, sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know how I was able to get the Clean Water Action logo on there, because I tried with somebody else and it just came out like this huge, picture. And I thought, and I don't know, I kind of maybe worked with it just a little bit, but I thought, well, it's not a big deal. It's not something that you need to have attention drawn to, but I just wondered, how the heck did I get the one that I do have? So I have no idea.
You probably uploaded it. I'm still logged in as my demo user.
Well, I mean, I would do it as
Yeah,
a picture and then, take it from the library or put it in the
Mhm.
library probably somehow.
And I can tell from the HTML, you see how it says thumbnail at the end? That means that the display size was selected. This, let me go ahead and just.
Yeah, where do I, yeah,
Show that off. And sorry, my screen is gonna be like an admin. I'm just gonna jump in there so we can see the media browser. But, okay. So I just want to get to the new draft site so we can show off the image option. The displays, I think it's a display size as or something like that.
Oh,
Hold on, it's taking a minute to load, sorry. There we go, okay. There we go, okay. So when I select the image and I open this up, this is the page I'm talking about. The display as option.
oh.
When you select thumbnail, it gives you a much smaller version. So this is one way to resize them.
Okay.
I will say that the quarter size, it does link back to the image itself. So I would stay away from that one, but every other display as option changes it up. The WYSIWYG, I think, doesn't really change it. It's similar to original size or full content. And then link is a link to view the image in a separate window. But that is how you've made it
Okay, so
smaller.
somehow I would have had that when I put the picture into the media library. No, that's not right.
Yeah,
How-
let me show you. I'm not going to save a picture that I drop into here, but just to show the steps that were taken.
I appreciate
So,
that. Thank you.
for sure. Regardless of if you uploaded it or if it was already in the media library, it's still the same ending steps. So let's just drop whatever image. So I double click that image, and this is where
Oh,
we get to right before we submit it for the last time, and then it drops into our page.
oh.
So
I don't remember
display.
even looking that way.
It's there?
What was that?
Is that always there, the display? Because I remember alt text,
Yes.
title text, but maybe I'm just skipping over that display as all the time.
It could be, because being that the submit button, and I am a little zoomed in too, but the submit button is down past it. So if you're already getting to this page and you're scrolling, it's easily missed. And since you're able to resize images this way as well manually, that display as function isn't super necessary, but it is helpful.
Oh, okay. Because you can always take those little squares and pull it in, right?
And
Okay.
and
Oh, yeah.
resize it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not going to save anything here, but
yeah.
that you have two ways of resizing things. You can use that display as option, or use it manually. You could even still go back to full content. Oh, yeah. And it looks like the original image itself is pretty small. So full content seems to be the same size as thumbnail, at least for this particular image.
So I probably didn't touch the thumbnail.
Yeah, I'm not sure who might have, but it was set to thumbnail. But yeah, you have a couple of ways to resize it. But if you did want to add the next image, then yeah, follow the same steps to upload it, and then you can resize manually.
Okay, thank you.
I think the only browser we've heard having issues with that of resizing manually was Microsoft Edge. I think that it doesn't offer the border for resizing. So those display as options are much more helpful.
Oh, that's good to know, because I usually use that I
Oh,
only use
okay.
Chrome for certain things where I have to use Chrome, just to kind of keep me in order.
Right, right. So
Okay.
yeah, if it becomes an issue, then you know that that's have to use Chrome kind of thing.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Did you drop the flow chart
Oh.
in the chat or?
Not yet. I was going to
Oh.
drop it in the Google group after our session,
Perfect. Okay.
and I'll try to give it some context too, since we won't have the recording of today's session paired with it just yet.
Lots of context.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all we talked about today. I feel like so much context for the conditionals.
Well, thank you. It was a very good session.
Thank you
Yes.
guys for sticking along, and as Mary Jo said, might not be for everybody, but you were all here for the ride.
Thank
And we
you.
lasted the whole time.
Exactly. All right, thanks folks. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you in 2
Bye.
weeks.